Welcome back. If you would go ahead and take your seats. Okay, real quick, in your manual on everything that we just covered in the first hour or so is actually in your manual as well, and there's lots of places to go back and take notes. Here's what I would suggest that you do, though, as the last couple of people are coming in, is hitting buttons left and right here. Is go to pages number 8 and 9. Now that you've got that memory technique in your head, go back to 8 and 9 and see if you can remember what those pictures represent. So you can remember all those concepts that we're going to cover in the class. What does the lion represent? Oh, that was self-confidence. That's right. Yeah. See how many of those that you can remember from the memory technique. So what do each one of those pictures represent? So pages 8 and 9. Get stuck, they're up on the PowerPoint. So, got it? Okay, the next part, we've talked a lot about increasing self-confidence. So that's one of the main things that we're going to cover here. One of the areas that a lot of people don't think that they're very confident in is in remembering names. That's the next section is how to remember names. Anybody have a photographic memory with names? Like where if you meet 10 or 15, 20, 30 people or so, you can memorize their first and last name pretty quickly? Okay, good. You're in the right place then. Because what does that tell us? When we meet somebody and 6 months from that point, we see that person again, if they remember who you are, what are they telling you? Yeah, well, it could be that I made an impression, but what are they telling you about that other person, right? Or let's say you do it. Let's say you remember somebody's name after you met them 6 months ago. What are you telling that person? That they're what? Yeah, they're important. They're special. They're important, right? So if you forget their name, what are you telling them? Yeah, it didn't make much of an impression, he's a loser, right? That kind of thing, right? Not necessarily, but for the most part, the better we are at remembering people's names and being able to use that, the more effective we can be at actually influencing people and persuading people, that kind of thing. So, on page number 10. Oh, sorry, page number 10 in your 11 in your manual. It starts a session on public speaking, and if you flip over to page number 12, it's the worksheet on page number 12. There's a 4-step process that we developed to help people remember names, and the thing that we want to do is when we meet somebody for the first time, if we want to remember their name, there has to be something that sticks the name into our brain so that we see it. And so the thing that we want to use is Elmer glue. So if you flip over to page number 12 in your manual, that's the Elmer glue page, and it's basically a 4-step acronym. So the L in the Elmer represents that you want to look and listen. Look at the person when they say their name, and then really listen to them when they say the name so that we kind of get it. You know how long it takes most people to forget a name? It's somewhere in between. It's about 3 seconds, basically. Somebody said 2 and somebody said 10, but it's about 3 seconds. And the reason why, here's the reason why most of us will forget a name. Most of the main reason why we forget a name is that when we introduce ourselves to people, we kind of do this. Hi there, I'm Doug Stannard, and your name is? Doug Stannard. Hi, I'm Doug Stannard. Your name is? Doug Stannard. Okay. I'm Doug Stannard. Your name is? Okay, great. Okay, good. Now, the reason why we do that is because when we meet people for the first time, we put so much pressure on ourselves about, because we know that we're not that great at remembering names, that we think, okay, if I forget that other person's name, that's going to be embarrassing. But if I forget my own name, man, that's really going to be embarrassing. And so we're repeating our own name in our head. Say Doug Stannard, say Doug Stannard, say Doug Stannard, say Doug Stannard. Okay, great. And they just said their name. We didn't even hear it. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people will forget it right away. So one of the keys to really remembering a person's name is to take the time to actually look at the person when they say their name and then really listen. And it's okay if you didn't get it the first time. It's okay to ask them to repeat it so that you can hear, especially if it's a foreign last name or something like that, and it's a little bit more difficult. So a lot of people feel honored that you want to get their name right. And so if you ask them, a lot of times they will repeat it. So you want to really look and listen. The middle of the acronym is what we call me in the middle. And we'll tell you why that's important. It's kind of a mnemonic device that we use. But we're going to put me in the middle in just a moment. And then we're going to finish up with the R, which is the repeat the last name. Remember, that was the rote technique was what we used early on to memorize things for tests when we were kids. And we said that doesn't work very long, right? But how long do we have to get it to at least work for? 3 seconds, right? 3 seconds, right? If we get over the 3-second hump, we're doing better than most people, right? And so what the repetition does is it helps us get the name into our short-term memory so that we can do something else to move it into our long-term memory. Because if we forget it in that first 3 seconds, it doesn't matter what we do, right? So we got to keep it into our short-term memory for a while. So we want to repeat it. Now, the last two parts is the me in the middle.